Django Unchained with Python. So if you have any prior experience in programming in Python, then this would be quite easy for you to understand. And if you're not, then too I will be making this as much easier for you as possible from my end. So before I proceed, I would like to ask you a few questions, obviously which I would be answering them myself. So what exactly is Django and what exactly is the need for having a Django? I can myself go ahead and create any kind of websites using Python or let's say HTML, CSS. Then why is Django even needed? The first thing is that Django is spelled as Django because some people are there out there who just think that Django means Jango, which is obviously wrong. So today's tutorial would be all about Django. Django is a web development framework that will save you time and make web development extremely enjoyable. With Django, you can go ahead and build different apps, high-end web applications, and it will make it, and I will try to make it as least boring as possible from my end today. So first, what is Django and what is the framework to start with? To answer this question, let's assume that the design of a web application written in Python without a framework. So throughout this tutorial, I will take this approach of showing you the basic ways of getting works done without shortcuts, and in the hope that you will recognize why shortcuts are so helpful. So it's also valuable to know how to get things done without shortcuts because sometimes shortcuts are just not available. And most importantly, knowing why things work that way will make you a better web developer. So one of the simplest, most direct ways to build a Python web app from scratch is to use the CGI standard, which is the Common Gateway Interface. And it was very popular during the 1990s. I can say it was most popular in 1998, and there's a high level of explanation of how it works. So you can go ahead and search on the web. Over here I would be teaching you a few examples today before I proceed on with Django and Python. So let me just open my notepad. I'll just go ahead and pin it to my taskbar so that it will be easier for me whenever I want to access it. So one of the simplest ways of doing this is through using the CGI method, as I told you. So here's an example of Python CGI script that will display the most recent published books from a database, for example. So just don't worry if you don't understand most of the things, because I don't expect you to understand all of these things in one bit. But if you are a Python developer, for if you are watching this tutorial, then you will be able to understand this quite easier. And I'm just assuming that this code was written by me in Linux, so I'm assuming that you have a Linux system. So if you don't, then still you will be able to understand it. It's not that quite hard. So to start with, I'll just go ahead and slash user slash bin slash environment Python. If you're unable to understand what I have written, is that in case you're adding a script in, let's say, Linux, then you need to go ahead and use this command, because it will go ahead and show the computer that where my environment in Python is exactly. If you're not using Linux, then you don't need to use this. You can just directly start typing over here. So I will be start typing since I have the Windows version. And I have not yet installed Python, any of the versions as of now. I'll be showing you in detail as to how each of them works. So this is a simple script as to how it was previously before Django was introduced. Period db print content hyphen type colon text slash html slash n. Perfect. Print colon ht okay, sorry, ht okay, html head title. No, I don't need it for books, since books would be the title. And I'll go ahead and close the title and the head as well. Okay, fine, perfect. And then I'll go ahead and print the body. So I'll just type print in space body, print And now since I need to go there and insert that body and the books as well as inside the header one, because I need that in a bigger tag. So I'll just type h1. So if you're not able to understand this a bit, I will explain it to you. What I'm doing is I'm simply writing a Python code over here, but inside the Python code I have written an HTML tags because yeah, simply because I'm going ahead and creating a web page. So these are the HTML tags which start with the arrows, and all the HTML tags need an ending tag except some. So that's why I have given the ending tags. If you're using XHTML or HTML5, the HTML5 is quite smart enough for itself to go ahead and give the ending tags. But again, sometimes there are issues, so it would be probably better if you go ahead and give these tags and ending tags yourself.